One, two, three.
Hello everyone, I am BeBetterGamer and welcome to BeBetterGamer Wrestling. This channel is dedicated to wrestling video games, fueled by my love, passion, and obsession for them. Thank you so much on clicking this video. I am playing Virtual Pro Wrestling 2 on the N64, part of the legendary series of wrestling games developed by Aki, my favorite series of wrestling games. This is my favorite wrestling game, and I'm bringing you another created wrestler, the Patriot, aka Del Wilkes. Patriot is sort of a cult fan favorite, I guess. He had a very short run in the wrestling business, only 9 years, but in that short run, he managed to make appearances in All Japan, WWF, even WCW, AWA, and a few other promotions. His mask is in the game, it is unlocked, as well as his tights, so I of course had to make them since a lot of his stuff was available in the game. His profile, moveset, parameters, all that stuff you can find in the description below, typed out in a nice Google spreadsheet, so make sure you check on that description for the full call. But right now we're going to get into the appearance. So again, you want to go over to the mask function where you press left or right on the D-pad, and for head shape we went with 1. It's mask 15. This has to be unlocked. In order to unlock him, you have to play as Kenta Kobashi in Royal Road Succession. I'll talk a little bit more about that later on in the video. But I went with 3, 10, 2, and 4 for the colors. So red, white, blue, and gold. If you notice the stars, there's only like one star, if you will. Not even a star, it's connected to the white. That's supposed to be where the star is on the top of the mask. And then the lines are supposed to be the stripes. Body size, we went with 3, skin tone 1. You know, the mask is close to what he actually wore, obviously, because they don't have the official license of the Patriot mask. They don't have an official recreation of the mask, so it's as close as they come. But these tights, C30, are almost exact, with, again, the stars on their side looking a little bit more like triangles. He was also part of a faction called GET, G-E-T, with Kobashi and Johnny Ace. He was only part of that faction for a little bit. There's a jacket you can unlock that I just showed there. You can use that if you want. I personally never saw him wear it, so if you have footage or an image of him wearing it, send that to me on Twitter. For the elbow pad, I gave him an elbow pad on his left. A lot of the times you saw him wear one elbow pad on the left, and it alternated. Sometimes it was red, white, or blue, you know? Of course it would be. And sometimes he didn't wear elbow pads, so you can choose to keep the elbow pads on or off. I put it on this one. A16, we went with white and dark red, actually, for the trim, and that's the little boots with the star on the end, very close to what he used to wear in, you know, actual wrestling. Once again, the second costume, we start with the mask. You're gonna only see me do a little bit changes to the full outfit. It's mostly the masks I changed for the next outfit. For this one I had 010, 04. This is like sort of supposed to be his black mask. You can also change it around a little bit. I'm showing a few different variations you can do that I did not end up deciding for the final bit. But I really like that one where you can make the top red and then completely black and gold. So again, trying to recreate when he had his black mask. He always had different colors. It's kind of hard to get all the colors properly where they would be. Sometimes they would be split. Here, the gold trim is silver instead. That's another variation you saw. Sometimes, you know, the part of the mask that you see here that I make either gold or silver, sometimes that was both gold and silver. So unfortunately, I couldn't really recreate that with his mask. Here I give him the blue elbow pad. It doesn't really matter the color of the elbow pad you give him, as long as it's red, white, or blue. Those were really the only colors he always wore. And for the final mask, I went with his red mask, which is 31004. Again, you know, if you look at pictures, you'll notice like maybe the top of his mask was blue and red, and you know, I've seen where like the top of his mask was blue, red, white, and black, you know, a bunch of colors going on. He actually has a really cool mask, and I like that it was diverse in all the colors, but those were the colors you usually saw: red, white, blue, gold, silver, and black. Those were usually colors you saw. You can also give him 2 white elbow pads. I'm showing you here. That's another variation you saw him wear with the elbow pads. Usually when he wore 2, they were 2 white ones. I think even one time he wore 2 blue ones, But again, as long as you're keeping it red, white, and blue, it doesn't matter if they have the elbow pads on or off. It works just as well as what I have here. And that's gonna be the Patriot. I had a lot of fun making this call. You know, back in the day when I unlocked the Patriot mask, I didn't really know too much about him. At the time, I only really knew about his run in WWF. I didn't really know about his run in All Japan. So let me know what you think in the comments below about the Patriot. Once again, you can find the full description with a complete moveset. I'm sorry, you can find the full call in the description. I totally said that backwards there. With a moveset, parameters, all that stuff filled out. And we're going to jump into a match so I could show off a little bit of the call. And I am going to be facing Kenta Kobashi, who was a very notable partner for the Patriot. And like I mentioned earlier, the Patriot needs to be unlocked by playing with Kenta Kobashi. You have to go through Royal Road Secession, which, if you're familiar with this game, that's basically like their road to WrestleMania, similar to WrestleMania 2000. And you have to clear the month of July. This basically equals to about 12 matches. You know, when you first start Royal, everything's kind of divided per month, but actually the first 6 matches are 2 months. It's May and June. You get 3 matches in May, 3 matches in June, and then July it's 6 matches. At the end of those 6 matches, you'll get the Patriot mask and tights. Along the way, you can also unlock the Get jacket, which I showed earlier in the call, by playing with Johnny Ace as Kenta Kobashi, and Johnny Ace choosing him as your tag team partner. And you have to defend the World Tag Team Championship. That's the tag team championship that has the 2 belts, because they were the unified belts to form the World Tag Team Championship. You already start as the World Tag Team Champions if you choose Johnny Ace as your partner. For me, I unlocked it after the 4th or 5th match. I had a title defense, so I unlocked the Get jacket. I don't think there's actually a set number of matches until you have to defend that title. It's kind of random, I've noticed, playing through Royal Road Secession so many different times, but it shouldn't take you long to unlock that either. You should be able to unlock the Get jacket before you get Patriot. And yeah, it's very simple to unlock, and I like that he was included in this game, much like how the previous calls, you had the Destroyer mask included in this game, as well as Dos Caras. And if you've played WrestleMania 2000, you've noticed these tights look familiar, because these tights are also in WrestleMania 2000. And the Patriot would have fit very well in WrestleMania 2000, because like I said, he was in WWF briefly, and I think that's what a lot of people remember him from, coming into WWF for a very short time, around 97, and feuding with Bret Hart. He was sort of a like supplementary character to the Team USA versus Team Canada feud that was going in, that I've talked a lot about in my last WWF WrestleMania 2000 calls, because I made the entire Hart Foundation: Bret Hart, Owen Hart, Davey Boy Smith, Jim Neidhart, and Pillman. It would be great to make the Patriot in WrestleMania 2000 as well, but unfortunately you can't create a mask in WrestleMania 2000. One of the features that debuted and only stayed in Virtual Wrestling 2. It would have been awesome to have the create a mask feature in the other Aki wrestling games. Patriot only was around for a short time, like I said earlier, 9 years. That's actually not a whole lot of time in the grand scheme of things. So he never really probably got as high as maybe he could have, or who knows, he was always kind of in the mid card. When he was in All Japan, he mainly wrestled as part of tag teams, but you got to remember, this was very early in his career. Even when he went to All Japan, he only had been wrestling for a few years, and he was with a tag team in his first stint of All Japan with the Eagle, who is not in this game, but you can probably sort of use the Patriot mask to recreate the Eagle as well. He captured the All Asia tag titles with Eagle and had a few notable matches with him, but the most notable tag matches he had was when he was teaming with Kobashi and Johnny Ace, and then of course later they would be part of the same faction, although Patriot wouldn't be part of that faction long. It was mostly Kenta Kobashi and Johnny Ace that represented Team Get. But Kobashi and the Patriot were in the World's Strongest Tag League, the 1996 one, and that's where they had a lot of really good matches that you can see on YouTube. They fought Akiyama Misawa, Ace and Williams, Hansen and Amori. Gary Albright and Sabu, and even Holy Demon Army, Kawada and Taoe, who ended up winning the tournament, which is kind of funny too because Kobashi and Patriot, they came in third that year, but the past 3 years Kobashi won the tournament with Masawa. But there's a lot of good matches from that tournament with the Patriot and Kobashi, and you could tell he was a pretty solid worker, a pretty solid hand. When he came to WWF, another little fun trivia bit, he used the music from Kurt Angle, you know, or the music that Kurt Angle would eventually have that's so iconic with Kurt Angle. That was the music for the Patriot. And he was, you know, with the Patriot gimmick, obviously it was the perfect you know, not antagonist to Bret Hart, but one of the antagonists to Bret Hart, or maybe Bret Hart was seen as the antagonist, depending on where you were. There we go with the big power bomb. So making this call was really fun with the Patriot because I had to watch a lot of Patriot videos. Again, I wasn't really too familiar with him, not only back in the day, but even now. And realizing his body of work was so short was definitely one of the reasons. But his moveset, he hasn't been in a lot of other wrestling video games. And I had to really draw mainly from watching footage, which was fun. But also, of the few video games that he was in, mainly he was in some of the early Fire Pro games. He was actually in Fire Pro Wrestling G and Fire Pro Wrestling 6-Men Scramble. Fire Pro Wrestling G was on the PlayStation, 6-Men Scramble was on the Saturn. Those were the first 2 Fire Pro games I ever played. My friend had imported both of them, and he was in only those Fire Pro games. He was also in the Zen Nippon Pro Wrestling 2 game. He was actually in all of the Zen Nippon Pro Wrestling series, and you might know the Zen Nippon Pro Wrestling series on the Super NES. It was actually called Natsumi Championship Wrestling, but in Japan it had the All Japan license. So one of the characters in Natsumi Championship Wrestling is actually based on the Patriot. I forget which one, I forget the name. I should have looked it up before the video, but let me know in the chat if you look it up, the name of the character that's supposed to be on the Patriot. He does a full Nelson Buster as one of his finishers in real wrestling, and you saw I gave that to him here as one of his strong back grapples, because there's also another variation of the full Nelson Buster. It's like a full Nelson Slam that you can do as his back special. That's usually what he would win matches with, either the full Nelson Buster, which was called the Uncle Sam Buster, the Patriot Bomb, which was the power bomb, and then the Patriot Missile, which is the diving shoulder block, which I didn't get a chance to do in this video. But here I go, pinning my tag partner, Kenta Kobashi. Again, watch his tag team matches with Kobashi. They're pretty good. And, you know, in WWF, really the most notable match he had was probably with Bret Hart. He fought Bret Hart at the In Your House Ground Zero pay-per-view right after SummerSlam 97 when Bret Hart won the title back from The Undertaker. This match was set up because the Patriot actually beat Bret Hart on the Raw before SummerSlam because of interference with HBK. And they had a pretty solid match. I mean, Bret Hart could work a great match with anyone, but it was actually really good, and Patriot looked great in the match. You see him do all his signature moves and spots. The crowd was really pumped and excited for it. But he wouldn't be with the WWF much longer after that, and then he would retire. So, short-lived career, but nonetheless kind of a fun career to look back on, especially to make in this game. Let me know what you think in the comments below about the Patriot. And if you made any changes to it, make sure you follow me on Twitch. Twitch.tv/BeBetterGamer. Check out my other calls and Let's Plays for the Aki series, including Virtual Pro Wrestling 2. And yeah, until next time, you know what to do. Keep watching all the wrestling. Thanks again, everyone.